And the worst part of all is no one's running the country. Nobody's making any policy. That's the most staggering comment I've heard around the ongoing Keir Starmer saga in the UK. Making more policy is not the solution. We should all by now have seen the chart plotting on the x-axis economic freedom, and on the vertical axis you can pick your metric of economic health, your GDP growth, for example. And the freer the economy, the more prosperous the country. The last thing we need, or the UK needs, is a highly collectivist government making more policy. So I found that an extraordinary comment. But it's also part of an extraordinary moment. I can't pull my eyes away from this gradual car crash. I'm watching it with masochistic tenderness. To quote a line I, for some reason, recall from a poem we learned in Standard 7. I keep looking to see what has happened, whether Keir Starmer has resigned. And it seems to me there's a broken system which is keeping him there. No proper successors in his party, and no real ideas on how to replace him. The Labour mechanism for replacing the leader looks archaic, slow, not fit for purpose. And yet, my sense is that a majority of Brits not only don't support Starmer, they thoroughly dislike him and dislike his policies. I think that came through in the local elections, where Labour was thoroughly trounced and Reform gained massive ground. This is also a reminder that very often politics, the fate of a country, comes down to one person facing a crisis. Keir Starmer is not just in a battle. I think he is having the things that give him esteem being torn away from him. Picture yourself in that scenario. Perhaps it's a business you built, maybe it's your family, maybe it's captaincy of a sports club. Picture the people in that world turning on you, plotting against you. Now elevate that, make it highly public, make it highly controversial, get the media involved. I think it's worth stepping back and looking at this as a person in crisis. Starmer's response is hard to believe. He's just clinging on. He's tweeting as if he's positive. He's talking as if he's positive. I'm not sure if he is. If he is, that's very strange, but I think he's a strange man. It's clear he will hang on as long as he can. And the mechanism for forcing him out is deeply flawed. So we're in this quagmire that will go on for some time until it collapses. There's a told you so moment here. When Starmer came to power, I believe it's now 22 months ago, I made one of these videos where I said I don't like to forecast, but I will confidently forecast here that Starmer will be a terrible failure. I think I gave two reasons. One was that he's a collectivist, quite a radical collectivist. His solution to all problems is a central plan and a policy, which essentially amounts to taking money from productive parts of society and reallocating them with a central plan. That is no solution. And the second reason I gave was simply that he's a very unimpressive leader. I frequently hear him described as an administrator and perhaps a middle manager and a lawyer rather than a leader. I'm not even sure he's good at all of those things. So I think he will fall at some point. He has failed. It's just a matter of time to see him actually fall. I don't have sympathy for him. I think his policies are foolish and destructive. I think he has actively made people poorer, and he's divisive. This reminds me of a lesson from the Zuma era in South Africa. Jacob Zuma was in a similar position. Most right-thinking people, perhaps all right-thinking people, wanted him gone as president of the country. He wanted to hang on, and there were party machinations in the background. He eventually did fall. The one lesson is that it's the system, it's not the person. So the suggestion that things will be better when Starmer goes, I think is, as the British commentators repeat, for the birds. That's not to suggest he shouldn't be forced out. A bad prime minister must be forced out, even if that is not the solution. It is part of the solution, or perhaps a step towards the solution. Part of me wishes I could look away, but I can't. I will keep looking for the latest move and awaiting Starmer's final fall. Two other thoughts on this cold day in Cape Town. One, the IPCC has now essentially walked back its most extreme forecasts of global warming. My only question is, will those who have relied on that, those extreme scenarios, recognize it and walk back or change their positions based on that? My sense is no, and that is because the climate zealots are in more of a religious mode than an analytical mode. But I would welcome acknowledgement and changing of course based on that change by the IPCC, essentially saying that their most extreme forecasts of climate change are implausible. Finally, this hantavirus. Someone suggested to me that the media is behaving really poorly. They are ignoring some of the science, and they are hyping up the fear factor. My response is, well, yes, they are acting poorly, but they're also just acting the way they act. I made my stance on the media around COVID very clear. I think if you look at just some of the basic facts of hantavirus, the media has been terribly irresponsible, hyping this up, generating fear. When in fact, this is not something to be ignored, but it is hardly a bigger problem than it was last year or the year before. That is running commentary from a cold and wintry Cape Town.